Hi everyone, welcome to Lunch Hour Lessons with Allison. I'm Allison Mädl and today is May 22nd, 2019. Every Wednesday at 12:30 I come to you live to introduce a topic related to nutrition and health that I think is interesting and give you a lesson to take with you into your daily life. If you like what you hear, feel free to comment or like this video. And as always, I post a transcript of each lesson on my blog at allisonmadel.com. This week's topic is intermittent fasting. I've gotten a lot of questions about intermittent fasting over the years, so I thought I would do a little bit of a really kind of like a survey of what it is and then give some examples about how it can actually be implemented. Fasting is a traditional practice that many cultures and religions have incorporated. Fasting can be anything from abstaining from particular foods to foregoing all food entirely for a specified amount of time before resuming normal eating patterns. Intermittent fasting is a little different than just fasting in general because it's gained popularity mostly for the health benefits that it conveys rather than more spiritual or cultural motivations. The most common motivations and reasons that people would practice intermittent fasting is for weight management and for improving insulin sensitivity in cases like prediabetes or insulin resistance and even neurological disorders like Alzheimer's disease. It can also be helpful for regulating hormones. The word intermittent is an important part of intermittent fasting because it implies that this type of fasting is done at irregular intervals, which kind of keeps the body guessing, so to speak. While an intermittent fast can be to abstain from all food for a whole day or even multiple days, the type of intermittent fast that I'm going to talk about today is more comfortable and affords many of the same health benefits. The basic goal of this type of fast is to eat only within a certain time window of the day. For example, 8 hours of the day would be when food is consumed, and 16 hours of the day would be when food is not consumed, and that 16 hours is the fasting period. A day might look something like this. Wake up at 7 a.m. and drink a full glass of water with lemon and sea salt to hydrate the body after a long night of not drinking anything. At 8 a.m., have breakfast. And at this breakfast, don't restrict calories. We don't want to overindulge, but at the same time, we don't want to restrict calories at this meal. And we'd focus on consuming adequate protein and fat specifically. At noon, have a satisfying lunch that includes balanced fat, carbohydrates, and protein, because that's something that you're going to use for a long period of time to give you energy. And then at 3 p.m., consume kind of a hearty snack or a mini meal that's also balanced in fat, carbohydrate, and protein. And by 4 p.m., stop eating for the day. And that would be the 8-hour window. So basically, food would be consumed from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then no more until the next intermittent fast. The important part of this type of fasting is not to restrict calories or fat or try to be on like a diet for that eating window. You're already doing something really good for your body by not eating for a particular period of time. So during the eating window, we don't need to think about eating in any particularly restrictive way. It's important to still consume adequate nutrient-dense foods during that time because otherwise results are going to be less than optimal. Weight loss probably won't happen as well if you're also restricting food intake during the eating window because the body will actually slow down its metabolism to conserve energy. So that's something that we don't want. Eating well during the eating window and then not eating anything is also much more comfortable and sort of related to the way our ancestors would have experienced eating patterns than eating small amounts throughout an entire day. Excuse me. In the latter scenario, where we would just eat throughout the entire day but not eat very much at all, the body constantly thinks it's going to get fueled properly, and then when this doesn't happen, metabolism slows down. So that can be a really important point for this. You can shift the time of day for your eating window, and instead of eating from like 8 to 4 in my example, you could just eat from 11 to 7 and shift it to more of like a lunch and dinner type eating window. Just remember that you want to stop eating about 2 hours before bedtime for optimal sleep and detoxification processes overnight. Some people also choose to narrow the window even more. So instead of an 8-hour eating window, they only eat within 6 hours. there's a lot of experimentation that you can do to find out what's comfortable for you. I would recommend intermittent fasting for 2 to 3 non-consecutive days a week, and then eating in your normal pattern for the other days. So that's important to vary the days of the week that you fast so your body doesn't get used to any sort of pattern. That's really going to actually keep your metabolism guessing and be healthier. Even though the practice of intermittent fasting doesn't prescribe what types of food that you should eat, kind of what I was saying, you should be much more successful and able to stick with it if you do choose nutrient-dense whole foods that keep your blood sugar stable, so enough fat and protein, and stay away from processed and fast foods and junk foods like that. It can still be done. The point of intermittent fasting is really just to eat within a certain time and not eat within other times. But again, you'll be more successful and probably feel better if you're eating good foods in that eating window as well. Finally, it is important to note that this type of eating pattern should not be undertaken by pregnant or nursing women or children who really do have different nutritional needs. So that's not a time when we want to be doing intermittent fasting. That's all the time we have for today. Be sure to tell a friend this week's lunch hour lesson, which is intermittent fasting can be a comfortable and convenient way to improve health. Again, intermittent fasting can be a comfortable and convenient way to improve health. Like my page to get the weekend tip that comes out on Saturday morning, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.